Hey everybody, thanks for joining me on this YouTube live. I was just thinking today, like, should I do something? What should I record a video? What should I do? Should I do a live? Earlier today, Jennifer Lee Chan and I taped a recorded 49ers talk. So that is now anywhere you get your podcast. But then I saw something pop up. The Baltimore Ravens just within the last couple of minutes here, like quite literally the last couple of minutes, um, they release this statement. Sometimes football decisions are incredibly difficult, and this is one of those instances. Considering our current roster, we have made the tough decision to release Justin Tucker. And so they call it a football decision. I'm not so sure about that, although the Ravens did draft a kicker. Justin Tucker is somebody who has a lot of baggage. Um, Before I go any further, just wanted to let you know this is brought to you by Canyon Club Brewery, located in Moraga. That's the flagship station of Canyon Club Brewery. It's now also a location in the Livery in Danville, just right off the 680. Great spot. Boy, I tell you, the spring and summer when the weather heats up, it'll be the place to go. Both spots actually great outdoor locations, fun for the entire family. Wide selection of beverages and also a great menu of tasty bites. So check it out, Canyon Club Brewery in Moraga and at the Livery in Danville. So with Justin Tucker, the 49ers did say, Kyle Shanahan said recently, the 49ers were planning on adding a veteran kicker to compete with Jake Moody this offseason. And the 49ers special teams coordinator, Brandt Ber, was going around just determining which guys to go after or which guy to go after. And now Justin Tucker is out there. Will the 49ers be interested? I don't know. But Justin Tucker coming off a poor season, no other way to describe it. And also just the allegations that surfaced last year, earlier this year, in which he's been accused of, in essence, inappropriate behavior. 16 different massage therapists from 8 different Baltimore area spas have alleged inappropriate behavior. This was over a period of years. And so the Ravens did not act on it during the season. I think they were pretty much mum on the whole situation, but now they've made that move to release Justin Tucker. Justin Tucker last year was 22 of 30 on field goal attempts. He's been in the league for 14 seasons. Well, this would be his 14th if he's on a team this year. He's 36 years old. He is the all-time most accurate kicker in NFL history at 89.1%. So he has been as automatic as any kicker in the NFL, in the history of the NFL. And so now we'll see what the 49ers decide to do or what they don't decide to do. I don't really have any guesses, although I think they would certainly subject themselves to some backlash if they decide to go with Justin Tucker, especially he's coming off a bad season. Levi Stadium is not an easy place to kick. The 49ers do have their rookie minicamp later this week in Santa Clara with their 11 draft picks, the 6 undrafted rookies that they've signed, as well as some tryout guys. And one tryout guy in particular is notable. He's the Lou Groza Award winner for the best kicker in college football from Louisiana, not LSU, Louisiana. And his name is Kenneth Amandares. And so he is the kicker who will at least initially get an opportunity to show what he can do in the rookie minicamp. And if he impresses, then perhaps he will be the one who competes against Jake Moody. Not necessarily the profile of what Kyle Shanahan was talking about. He was saying, Kyle Shanahan earlier, a couple weeks ago, more than a couple weeks ago, probably now, he said that the whole idea in getting a kicker to compete against Moody is to create the competition. And if Jake Moody believes that um, that the that he has respect for the kicker who's coming in, that it will be a legitimate competition, and therefore the pressure involved in kicking to keep your job during practices, during the preseason games, that will lead to a good competition, and then the winner wins the competition. So if you were to ask me, go ahead, ask me, who do I think the kicker will be for the 49ers to open the season? Waiting for one person to ask me. You know what? I know someone's going to do it. So, um, but I would say it's Jake Moody. And the reason is because he's the only one I know who's going to be actually part of a competition if there is part of a competition. So, my guess would be that Jake Moody wins the job. Now, I also believe this. It certainly seems to me that the 49ers have turned over the evaluations on special teams to the special teams coordinator, first year special teams coordinator, Brandt Ber, who comes over from the Jets. And he was with the Jets through several different coaching changes. He was there, of course, with Robert Saleh as well. But the way the 49ers have handled their offseason as far as trying to build out their special teams, it's very obvious that they're placing a lot on the plate of Brandt Ber from a personnel standpoint. Brandt Ber decided that John Weeks was going to be the long snapper, not Tabor Pepper. They went out and they got certain guys in free agency like Saran Neal and Luke Gifford. And then the last pick the 49ers had in the draft was a Brandt Ber production. Junior Bergen from Montana, who is listed as a wide receiver, but the 49ers envision him as a return specialist and someone who can definitely win this job on the team as a return specialist. And now with punt returns have always been an important thing because just got to be sure-handed. A return of an average return of 8.0 yards, 8 yards per return is good as long as you're also sure-handed and you don't turn the ball over, you're not muffing punts, so on and so forth. But also this year, there is the belief that there will be more kickoff returns. This year, a ball that's kicked out of the end zone will go to the 35-yard line for the offense to take over, as opposed to the 30-yard line. So last year, I think NFL teams, by and large, determined that they would just rather have the opposition start at the 30-yard line. There were some teams that tried to put it inside the 5 and then try to hold the team inside the 30. But I think this year, with the average starting point or the starting point on a touchback going to the 35, it will prompt teams to put the ball in play. It will make teams rely more on their kickoff return men. And so that's Junior Bergen. So the point being that with Brandt Ber as a special teams coordinator, by the way, he's expected to speak to the media for the first time later this week, as is Robert Saleh. Yeah, Robert Saleh still has not spoken to the media since he became 49ers defensive coordinator. And so he will be addressing the media at some point this week as well. But my point being that whatever the 49ers decide to do at kicker, it's probably at this point, it's going to be Brandt Ber who decides. And so if Brandt Ber wants a kicker other than Jake Moody, I'm assuming that that's the way they'll go. At this point, 2 seasons in the league, I don't think the 49ers have any loyalty that's going to tie them to Moody, where he gets the benefit of the doubt. But it also could be that Brandt Ber will look at Jake Moody and say, "Oh, he's the most talented guy. That's the guy I want." And with maybe better mechanics between long snapper and holder and kicker, that he believes that Moody will be the best guy for the 49ers. So that's not breaking news by any stretch, but that's where we're at. But the news of the day that is around the 49ers would be Justin Tucker. Now, also, Matt Gay was signed last week. So he was a kicker who had, let's just find, Matt Gay was a guy that when he became available, it looked like, that could be somebody that the 49ers would look. The Commanders signed Matt Gay last week, and then they released Zayn Gonzalez. So Zayn Gonzalez, who had been with the 49ers during Jake Moody's rookie camp, is now available out there. Not a bad kicker, but he's had a lot of injury concerns. He made some big kicks, in fact, for the Commanders last season, but Zayn Gonzalez is out there. I don't know if 49ers would go down that road again, but guess what? That would be Brent Boyer's decision to make. So that's kind of the quick update here. Wanted to alert you that on the 49ers Talk podcast, Jennifer did sit down with George Kittle. So you hear what George Kittle has to say about his contract, as well as Brock Purdy's contract. So check that out anywhere you get your podcast. And then I think since I've last spoken to you, we talked about DJ Humphries, the veteran offensive lineman, former first-round pick of the Arizona Cardinals. He's with the 49ers. If he can stay healthy, the strongest candidate the 49ers have to be swing tackle, or certainly the backup to Trent Williams on the left side. And then also the 49ers bring back Ross Dwelly, and he joins a tight end group where he'll be competing for a job, tight end group that, behind George Kittle, behind Luke Farrell. So Ross Dwelly vying for that number 3 tight end position. So I do see some questions coming in or comments coming in. Someone points out, nice hat. Thank you. This is my, let's see, what size? 7 3/8. That's the hat. Finally found a hat, a pro, fitted hat that fits. So got that working for me. Was out at the game, Giants game yesterday. Beautiful day in the Bay Area. Holy cow. Some people saying Moody over Tucker. I would think so. A healthy Moody is fine. Well, already off the bat here, getting a lot more support for Jake Moody than I expected. So I know it's kind of funny to kind of see the public perception, or just the input from the fans, because sometimes it gets a little bit skewed. You kind of get the feeling like, oh my gosh, the whole world's coming down on Jake Moody. Every 49er fan wants to get rid of him. But already reading some comments where people are just fine with Jake Moody. Let's see here. Yeah, more Jake Moody support. Tucker's last year wasn't very good. I would agree with that. Doesn't justify taking on the baggage. I almost said the garbage. Doesn't justify taking on the baggage. Let's see here. We cut Sermon, Latu, Price, to name a few. Moody can be added to that list. Brandon McManus got out of his issue. He just signed a new NFL contract. Give Moody one more healthy chance. Yeah, a lot of support for Jake Moody that I wasn't necessarily expecting. Let him compete with a new special teams coach and some other kickers in training camp. Teams like the Chiefs and Eagles routinely sign or draft guys with character concerns, while 49ers care about character. Well, it wasn't always that case. 49ers had a lot of character issues in the past decade. But yeah, they've cleaned up a lot of that. Someone wants to see, well, someone else is talking about another Jake, not Jake Moody, but Jake Martin. Who's Jake Martin? Are you thinking Nick Martin, the linebacker? Who's Jake Martin? Am I missing something there? I'm a little bit slow on the uptake on this one. Let's see here. Yeah, Zayn Gonzalez makes me even more nervous than Moody. Like Gonzalez, we got some Gonzo love. Crazy things that signing Tucker would instantly solve our kicking issues, but we can't due to the media circus. I don't know that Tucker would solve the kicking issues. Like I said, he had a not great season last year, and at his age, not necessarily a good sign whenever you're so much worse than you had been earlier in your career, and then you tack on the outside, the pressure or the scrutiny that he would be under with all those allegations. What else do we have here? Moody, a lot of Moody talk. Um, said it would be malpractice to at least not kick the tires on Tucker. Kick the tires. I get it. Um, Wish we'd kept Anders Carlson, one person says, rather than have someone who's automatic from less than 40 yards. When do you think they will pay Brock Purdy? I think it'll happen. My guess is sooner than later. I and I maybe I shouldn't be reading too much into it, but I just think that the fact that they got the deal done with George Kittle, and it's pretty clear Kittle wanted to set that tone on the 49ers Talk podcast. Listen to what George Kittle had to say, but he said that he's been talking to Brock Purdy a lot during this time, kind of preparing him for what this process is like. The process for George Kittle, a lot different in 2020 than it was this offseason. In 2020, when he was going into his second contract, it was acrimonious, or at least it wasn't real smooth between the 49ers and Kittle's representation. He said it was a 7-month process that was very difficult on him, but that deal got done right before the start of training camp, and been happy ever since. And then this year, it was a lot easier than it could have been, because I think Kittle's side kind of took a deal that I thought that they could try to get more out of it, try to extract more out of that, especially after Trey McBride signed his contract with the Cardinals. But George Kittle signed a deal where makes him on paper the highest paid tight end in the league at $19.1 million per year, but also that final year, 2029, the base pay is significantly more than it is for the other year. So that kind of artificially rose that number, or raised that number to 19.1 million, making him the highest paid tight end in the league. So we shall see where it goes with Brock Purdy. I would think that the over under will come in at 55 million per year. How that's structured, is it the final couple of years, maybe a little bit more to account for the 55 million average? I mean, I'm sure that Brock Purdy's side thinks that he should be right there at 60 million. 49ers probably feel like he should be under that, but we'll see how it works out. I still think it'll get done in a somewhat timely issue. What possible camp battles are you excited to see? Looking forward to seeing Nick Martin against Steve Winters. Yeah, I would say that's definitely one. How Upton Stout plays at nickelback is going to be interesting to watch. I would say probably not exciting to watch, but left guard, who's going to start there? I think my money right now is on Ben Barch. I think while the 49ers have some issues at the wide receiver position, seeing how that shakes out, everything being equal before Brandon Ayuk is cleared and ready to go, Ricky Pearsall and Juwan Jennings, are they the starters? And then if so, who's the number 3 guy? Where's Demarcus Robinson fit in? What about the rookie Jordan Watkins from Ole Miss? Is there any other wide receiver who could step up? What other spots? Certainly not. Running back would be for backup running back. Defensive line. I don't really pay too much attention to defensive line competitions, because all those guys play and they all play a lot. But who's going to be the starting defensive tackles? Is it going to be Alfred Collins and CJ West, or will the veteran Jordan Elliott hold on to a starting job? So those are the spots. I think the safety positions, with Malik Mustafa out for some time, those look fairly obvious with Jason Pinnock and Jair Brown. However, Marquise Siegel, the draft pick, has a chance to work his way into the mix too. So those are some of the competitions to look forward to. Let's see here. Is there any truth to the speculation the 49ers would still be interested in getting a free agent receiver like Amari Cooper? I don't see why not. I mean, I think that they do want competition. Are they going to pay him starters money? Probably not. I don't know. But I think the 49ers have to be open to everything. And I still think there's a chance that I haven't nailed it down which position, but I do think that there's a very strong chance that the 49ers swing a trade maybe in June to pick up a veteran guy who can step in and make an impact. So is that a wide receiver? It could be. I'm not sure which other positions. I guess you could say an offensive lineman. Don't necessarily expect that, but you never know. Um, I would think the 49ers should probably look for more depth, on the offensive line. Because right now, let's just say their starters are Trent Williams, Ben Barch, Jake Brindle, Dominic Pooney, and Colton McKivitz. And then your backup offensive linemen, let's just say three guys who suit up, DJ Humphreys, Spencer Burford, and then who? Matt Hennessy, uh, Connor Colby, Austin Pleasance. Am I missing somebody? So, yeah, I think they could use more depth, more competition. Let's see here. Our O line will get absolutely trashed by our D line in camp. That's probably the way it is for most teams. Excuse me, got a little cough here going on. I think the 49ers are set to practice against the Broncos in training camp this year, by the way. And I don't think that those will be open to the public. Maybe some fans will get in there, but I believe those practices will take place in Santa Clara. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see here. Have they hired a get back guy for Salah? I don't think they've hired one, but I'm sure somebody on staff will be in charge of that. Maybe an equipment person or something of that nature. Mustafa's mom is adamant he'll be healthy week 1. Thoughts? That's what a mother is supposed to do. But also, I don't think the 49ers want to rush him into anything. So we shall see. I am not privy to his MRIs or anything else, but if Malik's mom is saying that he's going to be healthy week 1, who's going to argue with mom? Certainly not I. If it's choice between Justin Tucker and Jake Moody, let's just keep Moody. I agree. Broncos are going to be a dark horse contender. Not so dark horse, didn't they? They got a good team. They were probably ahead of schedule last year, so I'm not sure that they'll be a dark horse. Does Spencer Burford get a new deal if he wins the swing tackle job? No, because Jalen Moore didn't get a new deal, and he won the swing tackle job. So I don't believe so. Here we go. How are you doing, my friend? From Chicago, the entire 49ers fan, diehard fan, always will be an honor. I want to say hi to you and show us. Well, thank you so much. That comes from Rick Diaz. Appreciate it. Any news on Drake? No, but I did see he posted something on social media about haters or something of that nature. Don't know what that was in reference to specifically. Let's see if I can find it here. So yeah, Drake Jackson, the freak. Let's see, what is he posting on social media? Maybe, there it is. Boomerang to all the haters. So it sounds like he said, okay, y'all crazy if y'all don't think I'm wrecking havoc on that field this year. So let's see. He's guaranteed he'll be wreaking havoc on the field. We shall see if that is the case. Right now, and I posted something at NBC Sports Bay Area.com that basically looks at the 49ers depth chart on defense. And when you look at it, let me just find where it is. There we go. So defensive end positions. I kind of have Drake Jackson listed as a wild card because I don't think that, at this point they can really count on him. He was out of sight, out of mind last season, wasn't on the field. Didn't do much the year before as he battled the injury as well. So right now, I have the 49ers starting defensive ends as Nick Bosa and Michael Williams, with Etor Gross Matos being kind of the third starting defensive end. And then after him, Sam Okuanu, Robert Beal, and Drake Jackson, if healthy. And that's a big if. So if he can get healthy and stay healthy, he has a chance to get in there and mix it up and be part of that 49ers defensive line rotation. Let's see here. I haven't heard any rumblings about the 49ers extending Colton McKivitz because I think that he gave a it was a very team friendly deal for his last extension with the 49ers. And when you see a guy like Jalen Moore, who's the 49ers backup offensive tackle, make $15 million a year, that kind of gives you an idea of what the range would be for Colton McKivitz in his next contract. Not saying he's going to make $15 million a year, but it's got to be a significant raise, I think, in order for him to go ahead and sign a deal before he reaches free agency. 49ers would have to make it worth his while. Maybe you take a little bit less if you have 1 year left on your contract, but this would be his chance to cash in. So I haven't heard anything about a new deal, but we shall see. Let's see here. After reading that Hufanga interview and all the Dre Greenlaw drama, sounds like Broncos 49ers practices might be a bit feisty. We can only hope. 49ers practices last summer were not feisty, and it showed. What we got here? I'm looking forward to Lenore and Upton Stout getting an INT or two against the Broncos. Wow, we're focusing in on this 49ers practice against the Broncos, huh? Drake Jackson, okay, let's see here. That's why I should extend Burford. Same kind of deal McKivitz gave them. Breaking news, folks. Ravens just released Justin Tucker, I'm told here in the comments section. It's kind of what we've been talking about for a while. In fact, isn't that the headline of my little chat here? What headline did I put up there? Something along those lines. Okay. You know what? Okay, so somebody says, hope Greenlaw doesn't kill our guys. We'll see how Greenlaw is physically. It might be one of those situations where the Broncos won't want him to practice much during training camp as he returns from a strain quad, I believe it was, that Jennifer reported on. So we'll see. We'll see if Dre Greenlaw's out there. But yeah, no, it should be fun. Yeah, Greenlaw's still recovering. My thoughts on Kevin Givens. My thoughts on Kevin Givens are that he'll have to compete for one of the backup roles and a spot on the 49ers rotation, because right now, when you look at the defensive tackles, I think there are three guys who are assured to be for the 49ers at defensive tackle in the 53-man. That's Jordan Elliott, Alfred Collins, and CJ West. And then it comes to, Evan Anderson and Kevin Givens. So, obviously the best case scenario for the 49ers is that, the younger guys leapfrog Kevin Givens, and they've improved at those spots. So I know they expect Collins to be up there and get significant run as a rookie, probably the same with CJ West, and then Evan Anderson, who made the team last year as an undrafted rookie. If he has a good offseason and can take his game to another level, then all of a sudden the 49ers have gotten better in those spots. Tucker seems like a perfect Kansas City Chief. Yeah, I think I know where you're going with that one. I don't disagree. Although they do have a kicker. They have their own guy there. Let's see here. Do you think Saleh will deploy Williams the same way he did Armstead? Edge, base, over guard on passing downs. They could. And I guess you could think about it this way too, but who's going to be better though coming off the edge to me, that's the question. So if you want to go like, whatever, the NASCAR, or, just a pin your ears back and get after the quarterback front four, let's say on 3rd and 8 or longer, or something like that, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7 and longer, you'd have Bosa on one end. And then let's say you have Gross Matos at one defensive tackle spot. And then if you have Michael Williams at the other defensive tackle spot, then who's your other edge? Is that Okawanu? So it might be that you keep Williams out there and just have him rush the passer, using that wide 9, getting, I don't know. I would think, I don't know the answer to that for sure, but I would think that year one, you would want Michael Williams playing the one spot, and then from there you kind of see where he fits best. Now, that's the kind of thing that you get to figure out over the course of training camp as well. But maybe the less that they can give him put on his plate, the better off he'll be initially as a rookie, just to line up in that one spot and go get the quarterback. Oh yeah, Khalil Davis. I forgot about Khalil Davis. Yeah, now he's somebody that has a chance as well to make an impact at defensive tackle. Yeah. Kittle and Farrell, only 2 tight ends that make the 53 man. I doubt that. I think the 49ers will keep 3. They've often kept 4. Yeah, they need a third up on game days, just in case. So, whether that's Ross Dwelly or is Jake Tongas? Yeah, I think Jake Tongas is still around, and Mason Pline and Braden Willis. So they'll keep a third tight end. I'm relatively certain. Although I think I understand and I get where you're coming from in that you keep the 53 best players, and is your third tight end really going to be better than whatever your 5th defensive tackle or whatever the case may be? Who do you think will be the final 53 D-line rotation? So let's just say 8 are active on game days. So I would go with, if 8 are active on game days, let me find my, yeah, here we go. So let's say 8 are active on game days. So let's go Bosa, Williams, Gross Matos. There's 3. Elliott, Collins, West. There's 6. And then I'll throw in, boy, I guess Okawanu is 7. And then Anderson or Givens, 8. And then, like I said, kind of the wild card is Drake Jackson. The report from John Lynch wasn't all that positive about Drake Jackson's recovery from the knee injury that kept him out all of last year and a good part of the year before. So he'll have to prove that he can get healthy and stay healthy. Okay, my dog. Should I show you my dog here? Probably. I'm gonna get ready to come over here. Come here. Gonna give you a glimpse of the dog here, as he says. Have him or her reading the comment section. So anyway, I think I'm gonna bring this one to an end. Thanks to everybody for viewing this video, and thanks for all the comments and everything else. And that is it for now, and we'll be back tomorrow with probably something else. So anyway, thanks so much, and take care.